Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, President Biden says more sanctions are coming against Russia for the death of Alexei Navalny. Plus, the man accused of killing an East Tennessee sheriff's deputy appears in court for a preliminary hearing.
Plus, this dry weather will stick around for this evening, but that next rain chance is on the way. Your forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Russia may soon be paying an economic toll for the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. The battle over more aid for Ukraine is also being played out on both Capitol Hill and the campaign trail. CBS's Skylar Henry has more on all this from the White House.
The Biden administration says it's preparing new actions against Russia following the death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny in a Russian prison.
I told you we'd be announcing sanctions on Russia. We'll have a major package announced on Friday.
The sanctions are also tied to Russia's war against Ukraine, and the tide is now turning in Russia's favor as Ukrainian troops had to retreat from a city in the eastern part of the country. The Biden administration says they were forced to withdraw because Ukraine is running low on ammunition. Biden has called on lawmakers to pass billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine, but the effort has stalled out in Congress. The House left for a two-week recess without taking up the bill to support Ukraine. Former President Trump's allies in the House have pushed back hard against any aid for Ukraine, though House Speaker Mike Johnson has insisted Congress won't abandon Ukraine. He met with the former president at his Florida home Monday.
Congress is too divided and broken to do its job.
Meanwhile, Nikki Haley has zeroed in on Trump's national security issues as she tries to gain traction in the two-person race for the GOP presidential nomination.
He's all but said he's going to abandon Ukraine. That's a massive gift to Vladimir Putin.
Haley is far behind Trump in the polls, just days before the GOP primary in her home state of South Carolina. But she insists she is staying in the race no matter what happens Saturday. Meanwhile, Trump is holding a town hall and a fundraiser in Greenville, South Carolina today. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Trump has already begun campaigning in Michigan as well, the next state on the GOP primary calendar. Haley says she is headed to Michigan on Sunday. President Biden drew in a sizable haul for his campaign and the Democratic Party in January. The campaign announced he raised more than $42 million last month, ending January with more than $130 million on hand. Based on these figures, the Biden campaign and Democrats have outpaced former President Trump and the Republican primary field in fundraising. It is a bright spot amid low polling and continued questions about the president's age and memory. Kenneth DeHart appeared in an East Tennessee courtroom this morning for a preliminary hearing. He's charged with the murder of Blount County Deputy Greg McCowan. DeHart was at the center of an almost 5-day manhunt before being arrested in East Knoxville. The preliminary hearing ended with the judge turning the case over to the Blount County grand jury.
We are tracking some more fantastic weather across the region on this Tuesday evening, all thanks to high pressure. Here's a live look from Buffalo Mountain from Perry County, and as you can see, not a cloud in the sky back in the distance. That current temperature up to 59 degrees on this Tuesday. Most of us in the upper 50s and lower 60s, up to 61 for Harlan, 62 in Manchester, 56 in Pikeville, and 58 over in Jackson at this hour. We should be close to 50, so we are well above average on this Tuesday, and more above average weather is also on the way by Wednesday and Thursday. Up on first alert pinpoint Doppler, all thanks to high pressure. We are tracking some more dry weather. And as you can see, high pressure sitting over northern Georgia, and that will bring in some more drier weather as we go into this evening. So if you have those plans, once the sun sets, those temperatures are going to be chilly, and most of us see temperatures back in the middle to lower 40s and a few upper 30s as well. But as you wake up on Wednesday, those lows are once again close to freezing in the upper 20s and lower 30s. A copy and paste forecast on the way tomorrow. We see some more sunshine, also some more warm weather, but that moisture is looming by Thursday. All those details plus a cooler weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to hear a challenge to a Virginia school's admissions policy that critics say discriminates against Asian American students. The controversy stems from a 2020 admissions policy adopted at the highly selective Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Alexandria. The policy sought to ensure disadvantaged students were admitted to the school, whose student body was historically comprised of students from affluent areas. The Supreme Court also declined to review sanctions against two pro-Trump attorneys who filed lawsuits challenging the 2020 election results in Michigan. The sanctions were imposed by a U.S. District Court in 2021. Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood filed separate appeals. Among other arguments, they claim sanctions would make it less likely for lawyers to take unpopular cases to court. The Supreme Court rejected both appeals without comment. The legal team for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange returned to London's High Court today to fight for what could become his final attempt at avoiding extradition to the U.S. One of his lawyers said he should be granted permission to appeal his extradition. He argued extradition would violate a 2003 U.S.-UK treaty which prohibits deportation for a political offense. Assange did not attend the hearing. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, no surprise, nearly half of Americans with revolving credit card debt say they are stressed about it. Ways to help you pay down that debt.
Plus, we are tracking some more showers and breezy winds later this week. Those details after this break.